Hello, Capricorn. This is Jeffrey. This is ripe color. I look really pink. Um, yeah, it's just the way it is. Uh, this is your reading for 2026. And the overall message I'm getting for everyone is it's time to reset. So if reset is the energy, so what are you going to reset? Are you going to reset your job, your place of living, your relationships, your habits? What are you going to reset? Okay, so what I'm going to do is a 12-month reading for 2026. So I'm going to use um, the larger cards for the overall feeling of it. I'm going to throw down 12, and then I'm going to use the smaller cards for details. Okay, so first off, I just want to pull one card for the overall energy, the year for Capricorn. And I'll do all 12 signs, but I figured, do one a day, Jeffrey. So today's the first day. All right. Okay, Capricorn. So what does the year ahead hold for you? Stand your ground. You're in a better position than you think you're in. Be confident in your passion, be confident in your ability, be confident in your ability to set a boundary and fighting the fight, fight the good fight. Okay, that's the overall energy. Okay, I'm going to shove that back in the deck. Now, let's see how I can fit the 12. All right. January, February, March, April. Oh, I'm going to show it to you. It's easier. I started here. January, February, March, April, May, June, July, August, September, October, November, December. Okay, Capricorn, away we go. All right. So January is a time to hone your skills, get busy, get to work, learn a new craft, learn a new skill, pay attention to detail, and enjoy yourself. Okay, that's January. Now, I could do it. I could just go through all this and then I think I'm going to do it this way, the way I'm going to do it right now. Want you to see the bottom card, yo. Okay. So that's January, right? Whistle while you work. This is an eight. Eight's about abundance and awareness. Eight is also it's in the physical world because it's pentacles. So, he's the craftsperson. So he's learning a new skill and he's getting really good at it. He's so into the one he's making, he doesn't realize how much he's already accomplished. It's kind of the whistle while you work, really enjoying what you do. And it's January. It's a good time to like learn a new skill, get to work, get it started. Okay. Good thing I turned off the phone. Um, yeah, uh, you know, this is really about friendship, community. You and another. Really, it's a two of cups, by the way. You and another really getting along. So maybe as you're doing this work, maybe you're going to go to school or even learn something online, and you find someone that is like-minded and that can help you and that you can help. There's a real sense of balance and of kindness, of love, of both offering a really lovely energy. Okay, February, it's like, okay, you've gathered everything you need to gather, and it's complete. And it's complete. And what happens after the completion? You have a really clear vision, right? This is the farmer at the end of the season. And then you get like the real clear thinker. So, I know what to eliminate and I know what to keep. And I'm going to use my mind to make so that it makes sense, so that it's very clear and direct. Okay. March. March is like a decision. Do I want to bring myself in out from the cold, or do I want to stay feeling, I don't know, like not part of it? Like it's decision time. Fives are always decision time, actually. There are lots of opportunities. There are lots of opportunities, you know. It's like it might seem all dire, but there is hope here, and there are lots of opportunities coming to you. And it's my second eight, by the way. My second eight. Interesting. Okay. I like to read numbers. January, February, March, April. April, an opportunity presents itself. A new opportunity presents itself. It's a definite opportunity. It could be for money, it could be for security, for health. Look at it very carefully because this is a false path. So look at it very, very carefully. If it sounds too good to be true, it's probably too good to be true. And, we can all fall into that. Like, oh, well, you don't understand. It's only $12,000 for this course, and I'm going to make $1 million. And, like, look at it very, very carefully so you don't fall into the dark. January, February, March, April, or to some false pattern. And May lets you know that you're vibrating at a much higher level. You're vibrating at a much higher level, and what you thought was stable and secure is not so stable and secure. And what happens after it collapses? This could be your living situation, your job, a relationship, and anything, but really big. A rebalance needed to happen. You have to call in, the archangel Raphael to bring you back into balance, right? And the thing is, he's the alchemist or she, and they take the old experiences and utilize them and combine them with something new to make it something healing. Lovely. Okay, this is about self-reflection. January, February, March, April, May. This is June. This is about self-reflection, going inside and letting your light lead you toward really finally learning the lesson. Really finally learning the lesson and being reborn through it. So I have two angels already. So this mid-year energy is really, there's a real spiritual aspect to it. There's a real spiritual aspect to it. July. Oh, you've decided to go your own way. You've decided to change your way of thinking. You've decided to not fight for somebody else's fight. You've decided to go your own way. You don't want to fight. You just want to move on. You just want to move on toward your community, toward creativity, toward joy. Like, I don't want to fight. Maybe that's the lesson learned. The lesson learned is if I fight with this person or these people, nothing's going to come of it. They're not going to hear of me and they're not going to understand me. And it's okay. I'm going to find the ones that do, and dig into that. Like I'm walking away from the fight. August. August, so, something becomes very clear. This is kind of like nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. It's a nine, it's attainment. So, the Nine of Swords is a little bit like, what have I done? Like really being with yourself and talking to yourself is like, what have I done? How am I going to get myself out of this mess? How am I going to get myself out of this mess? With strength, with courage, with leadership, with taming your inner beast, right? With taming your inner beast. So maybe you have a tendency maybe to fly off the handle, and it's like, I'm going to tame this for my highest good. I'm going to tame this. That was August. Now we're into fall already. September. You have choices to make, so make the right choice. Something that's fair and balanced and makes sense in this plane. And that is in a state of harmony. And it is in a state of harmony. That's the hint. Oh, there. October. That card, sometimes it's about being surrounded and this and that. That card is like, I've kind of worked myself into a pickle, or I've been worked into a pickle, so to speak. And it's like, well, how am I going to get out of this? How am I going to get out of this? How it's almost for me, that card is like a slow motion card. It's almost like a slow motion. It's like I look around at the lay of the land, and then I figure out why am I fighting this fight? Is this my fight or is it somebody else's fight? Have I learned my lesson? Can I go home? It feels like there's a lesson that you really learned because here, look at this. I have, it's like a real learning year because, I have this feeling of abandonment where, you're going to realize that actually um, there's lots of opportunities out there. You have this opportunity, but you have to be careful not to be too greedy, too lustful, too jealous. Okay. And then I have something crashing and then spirit coming in to rebalance you. I have a deep inner search and then the lesson learned, the inevitability is going to come. And the inevitability is that you're not going to follow somebody else's lead, you're going to follow your own, enjoy. And then you say to yourself, oh my goodness, what have I done? And it's like you followed your spirit, is what you did. And then, maybe you can get into a little illusion, but, you're going to be able to rebalance it. And then you find yourself there yet again. And it's like, well, how am I going to get out of it? Through fertility, through creativity, through flow, like letting it flow, letting it happen. Great card. November. November is this opportunity to heal and to receive. And, to be very practical. November is a very practical month. And the other thing about this card, this is like a frugal guy, but he's also he keeps his business to himself. He keeps his bit like, let's say I wanted to open some sort of business, I don't know. And then I go around, I tell everyone about it. And then, this one says, oh, well, that's not the right thing. And then this one says, oh, it's so expensive. And the other one's like, oh, it's going to be a big problem. Just you're going to receive some sort of intuition, some sort of healing, some sort of emotional understanding. You keep it to yourself. Now, December is very interesting. December, you walk away. You pack your stuff. You don't turn around. It's like, I'm done with the turbulence. I'm leaving. Where are you going? To support. to support. It feels like there's an emotional component to this whole thing because this is really the card of being loved and supported and beloved, right? Victory, being seen as the leader. So it feels like there's something that needs to like almost come out of you, almost like um, be exercised from you. And you're going to want to hang on and want to hang on, and it's going to keep on saying, no, there's another way. And you're going to keep on going back and no, there's another way. The only way I learn a lesson is if I have the same lesson, 100 times, 200 times. And then I'm like, oh, oh, now I get it. Oh, it's almost like you learn something in second grade, and then in fifth grade, you understand it. It's like, ah, I knew I had to remember that for some reason. I wasn't quite sure what they were talking about, but now I am. It feels like that, a little bit of having to go back and reclaim or reorganize or look at things from a different perspective or try something new in order to move forward. But remember, the first card is really the card of confidence. It's really the card of you're in a much better position than you think you're in. You're in a much better position than you think you're in. So that is my 12-month reading for Capricorn. So if you want a 12-month reading, you can get one below. And just to order an hour reading, and just when you talk to me or you send me a message saying, I want a 12-month reading. And if you purchase a reading, write me a little note saying, Wednesdays are good for me. I'm in Central Time or something like that. Anyway, I have books and meditations and art and all sorts of other things available for purchase. Happy New Year. Have a wonderful 2026. Feels like there's a lot of growth. It feels like there's a lot of growth. And that's what it feels like. That's what it feels like. Anyway, Happy New Year. Happy 2026, and see you soon. Blessings.